Agency owners of all sorts, I'm going to blow your mind. If you have a list of clients with telephone numbers, I'm going to show you how an AI cold calling agent can call all of them with a click of a button. They will offer them what you have to sell, book them in, or grab more details so you can follow up. And it's as easy as clicking a button. These AI agents are worth $5,000, and I'll show you how you can create one for under $100. It's going to be one click, and let me show you the example. If I have a list of people and I have a website offer that I want to send out to them, this is what it would look like. I select them on my computer and I add them. That is it. And I'll get a phone call from the agent.
Hello, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good.
My name is Mary. I am from Altus's office. The reason I'm calling is that Altus found your business on Google and has built you a new cool-looking website. He would like to send you a demo link via email.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Great to hear. Can I have your email address to send the demo link to?
It is david@gmail.com.
Can I just confirm your email address? david@gmail.com.
Yes, that's correct.
Hold on a sec. Thanks for that.
And it's as easy as that. I've set it up because I'm targeting Australia and I want an Australian accent, so I've selected that voice. But just in one click, they deploy, and it's for whatever offer you want. Either you can use it for yourself, or you can sell these. These are going for $5,000 as a database reactivation. And this is what you need to do and how you go on about it. Okay, let's get straight into it. If you watch to the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can learn and know how to do this in under $100 from the very start to the end. And other agencies are using this for themselves, but they're also selling it as a database reactivation form where these cold agents can call a list of or database of all clients and give them a new offer. Okay, and most of them are selling it for almost $5,000 for a lot of these setups. It's a bit complex and it's going to take a bit to learn, but we're going to work through it because we need to know how it works with Go Highlevel. We need to know how Vapi works and how to integrate it all via make.com, and there's going to be 3 different scenarios. All right, so let's get into it. So let's say you have a list of clients and they're all in your Go Highlevel database as a CSV, and you've imported them with names and telephone numbers. All you need to do is select as many as you want in here and just add them into that automation. So I'll show you this one. This is just a blank copy that I've made. So that's your first automation. So we're going to have Highlevel. Highlevel is going to contain a bunch of clients, and we're going to send all those clients to a automation in Highlevel or workflow. And all it does is Vapi, which is going to be our assistant, is only going to be able to make 10 calls at a time. So we just need a bit of a drip campaign where we only send them out. You can either do 10 at a time, but it's a bit risky. I'll probably say go for 8 every minute. So it just works them through 8 a minute, 8 a minute. In this example, I only did one person when we called up. So I just did the one a minute. And all it does is it sends a webhook request to my make.com scenario. And then we do some nice things in it, which is adding tags so we can get to the workflow later on, which I'll show you. The second part is when we look at our opportunities. All it does is it puts everyone in positive replies. So you have your contacts, and then once they're all called, they'll put them into a pipeline in here, and if they're positive, it's going to be in here. So all you have to do if you're selling this or you're an agent, you just have to come check your positive replies, and once they're in here, you can look into each one of those and it will show you the summary details of what's happened during the call. So you can see the summary of it and you can see the transcript. So what happens is, so let's keep going into this. So this automation that we had here in the start is going to send a webhook to make.com. And this is going to be the first scenario. And what it does is the webhook listens out for all the details from Highlevel. And what we need to do is we need to grab the Go Highlevel contact ID, because what we need to do is we're going to send details to Make. Make is going to send it to Vapi. Vapi is going to ask questions. And when that person needs an update, or we need to update the email address, we need to update them as a positive contact, and we need to update the nodes in it. We need to know who this person is, and it gets identified by the contact ID. So that contact ID needs to become a dynamic variable that we send across all the different platforms. And I'll show you how that works. It just means that we can come back, send the data back to our CRM, which is Highlevel, and it has the notes in there and it has the updated emails in it. So once we have everything from here from make.com, all we're going to do is, and you get these later on when I show you at the end, and it's just a simple workflow that's going to trigger a Vapi call assistant. So we have our call assistant in here, and then we have our authorization, which we'll get to Vapi later on. But when we get to Vapi, it has an API key, and that API key we just need to put in here. Then we're going to ask Vapi to make a phone call. We're going to get the assistant ID, which I'll show you. And then we're going to send it the dynamic variable, which we have. And then we're going to send it the telephone number of the person or contact in your Highlevel. Okay? So all that data comes from Highlevel. And I'll just show you in here quickly. So what we do in here is we have the webhook. The data comes in with a bunch of data, and it contains the telephone number they want to call, and it contains the contact ID. And that contact ID is what we need. And we're going to create a dynamic variable. This is the very important part. It's that dynamic variable that we're going to put into a string, and we're going to send that across to Vapi as well. All right. This might not make any sense, and you need to maybe go back and watch this a couple of times, but that's the important part, is that dynamic variable. You can have this module, this bit out, and it's just going to make the cold calls, but you're not going to be able to keep track of it. Okay. So once we have the make scenario, we're going to come look and see what Vapi looks like. So this is my Vapi assistant. Vapi is such a great and powerful program to use, because to create an AI voice agent, you need to have a large language module, Chatgpt. You need to have a transcriber, Deepgram or Nova. So when we talk, it needs to transcribe what we've said. Then when it needs to talk back, we need a voice assistant, and in this case, it's 11 labs. So it's a bunch of programs that work together, and Twilio to make the phone calls. They work together, and Vapi brings it all together. And the best part is, they charge you 5 cents per call for it, or per minute for it. But all of these, you don't need your own subscriptions to it. Vapi has its own subscriptions and will just rebill you for it without any markup on it. So it bills you out the direct costs. You can add your own ChatGPT modules to it if you want to, or your own ChatGPT or 11 Labs API keys, and the cost will work out the same, but you might as well use it all in here at the same time. So I'm just going to go over the basic builds of this assistant. So we're just saying, so in this example, I'm going to call them and I'm going to offer them a website. All right. So, and all I want is I want the details back from them. I want to know if they're interested in websites, because they'll say yes or no. And I'm going to want to know who I need to speak to. I just want to grab the email address. And that means this cold lead has kind of gone to a bit of a lukewarm lead. Rather than trying to book people in, this just gives me a bit more leeway so I can work and call them back, for example. So I just got the role in here. And when I come to the end, I'll show you how to get all this so you can get a whole sample prompt. So just the role is that you're going to be a caller. Your task is going to be hello to greet them. I want to make sure they offer them a new updated website. And here, this is the dynamic variable. We're going to need to keep referring back to this because it's going to receive that as a number from make.com, and it's going to need to bring that backwards and forwards, and I'll show you how it all works. So this is very simple, but it's got a lot of details into it, where I just say that, hey, you're going to be a friendly caller, you need to talk to them, you need to explain to them that you are my assistant, I want to do a demo website to them, I want to know who we can talk to. And it just goes, you can change and edit it for your product. I have some basic rules in here, just some sales stuff I want to say or give to them. And then this is the important part, is giving some example. So I got an example 1, what they would say. Got an example 2, if they say, no thanks, I'm busy. I just want to go in a little bit. I understand that you're busy, but hey, this only going to take 1 second. And I have the parts in here where I want them to spell out their email address, just so we double and make sure. So these are always good to have as the little example bits. So that's just a prompt that activates it. And here's the really good thing about Vapi. You can test this within the browser, okay? So we'll get to that soon. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So that just creates the prompt, and I'm selecting GPT-4 mini. And you can see here in the top, if I select any other things, any other clusters, that will change the price, okay? So obviously GPT-4 is a bit more expensive, but it just brings it up, and it brings up the latency as well. 4 mini at this time is the latest, greatest, fastest, cheapest, so it works. But you've got other options in here to use as well. So just things to consider. It's really good. It makes Vapi so versatile. Okay, and you can also load a knowledge base. It's so good for it. So if you have if you're doing a support, if you can sell this as a customer support with a customer support base in there, and it can answer those questions coming from that. So this makes it so usable, really, really well. When we look at the transcribers, as I said, that's just going to what transcribes backwards and forwards when I talk to you. When I say something, it's just going to transcribe it back into words, so we can send it to GPT so that it can send in a response. And when that response comes back, it's going to activate 11 labs. And 11 labs, again, Vapi has already got it integrated. Yes, you're getting charged for it, and yes, you can use your own API key, but it's going to be the same price. So all the different voices are in here that you can use and play with. But yeah, 11 labs, there's a bunch of different options. Again, it's so versatile. It's got so many extras to add and try. So for this, I'm doing Australia. I'm trying Sophie from Australia. She's a young and not energetic female, which is a bit of a pain. But there's a lot of extra options you can play around with. Like this background sound, so it sounds like an office. It adds a hum and ha's to it. You can chop and change the stability, clarity a little bit. And I might still play around with this. But if you want to select a different voice, for example, so let's say we say publish here, and we're just going to select a different voice for a second. So let's say want someone with English. Go Chad. So we have Chad in there. You want to test it, or you've made some changes in here, you can do it straight from the browser. You don't have to call up and call in. So let's have a listen. What he sounds like. Oh, allow. Almost missed that part.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. My name's Mary, and I'm calling from Altus. The reason for my call is that Altus found your
Alright, obviously Chad can't be a Mary, but you get the idea. You can chop and change things, and you can try it from here. So that's a bit of there's lots to do in Vapi, and I'll show you the link at the end. It goes into a bit more details, but just the basics, pretty much the defaults, works straight out of the box. Just the next thing we need to do is we need to build a function, And a function is just sending the data that we collect. So remember, we kind of want to know that yes, they're positive about a website, and we want to grab their email address. So we want to send that email address and that contact ID back to make.com so it can update Highlevel. So what you do is you build functions for or tools for it. So tools is just a way where it saves what you're saying and it sends it off. Okay, so I've got a bunch of tools here, like one in here, the website one, is it grabs the email address and just say, whenever they say an email address, it's going to assign a variable to it, and we're going to reassign the contact ID variable as a contact ID. So just going to a way of transferring it over, transferring it back. I hope this makes sense. You don't have to have this if you're not going to update Go Highlevel, okay? But this is just an important step to have in there for Go Highlevel. So all I'm saying in here, when we go to phone assistance, when we come in here, where's this one? Sorry, website offer. I'm just saying, when you get, you're going to ask for their number, and or you're going to ask for the email address. You're going to read it back, and once you've confirmed the email address, we're going to run the SEO tool. And I wanted to remember that contact ID number because we haven't asked for it, but I'm going to run the SEO tool. So when we go into functions, I'll make sure that it has authority to load the SEO tool. So once I give the details, it's going to fire it off back to make.com. So another make.com webhook where the webhook is going to receive the details. So all it does is it receives some variables back from Vapi. So it receives the email address and it receives this contact ID that's been carried over from Go Highlevel. So it's come all the way from Go Highlevel to Make to Vapi back here, and then I'm going to say we're going to update the contact because we want to update the email address because you might not have the email address of the person that they want to speak to. So we're going to search for the contact ID that we have back there, and then we're going to update it with the new email address that we have. So bam, it updates the email address, and then second, we're just going to add another one, sorry. And also I'm going to update the tag, and the tag just means it's going to swap across in your workflows, in your pipeline. Okay, so just come back here. So just as soon as it updates this, it's going to move it over as a positive request, and then we're just going to add a note to it. Call made, email updated, positive lead. So that's just the one. That's one of the notes is going to get updated. Once the person hangs up, I have this enabled in Vapi. So when you go to advanced, I want it to send another webhook, and I want it to send it off the end of call report. So when we come back to Vapi, there's a third make.com scenario. Scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3. We're going to come in here, you have your webhook that's going to wait again, and that's going to receive the end of shift report that's going to have all the summary and the transcripts into it. And all I then wanted to do is I want to search that contact ID. Then I'm going to update it with a summary report and a transcript report. So it's at the end of the call. And it brings up the part that looks in here. All right, the end of shift report. Okay, so just think of it as a summary again. You have a bunch of clients and contacts in Highlevel. I'm going to send the numbers and the contact ID of this contact off to Make. Make is going to take it, make it into a variable. It's then going to send it to our assistant that we've specified in here. That assistant is then going to call the number that we've given it from Highlevel and also remember the contact ID. This assistant is then going to call out to that number, and it's going to run this prompt from GPT-4, and it's going to run it and offer them something. During this conversation, it's going to use 11 labs to talk backwards and forwards. It's going to transcribe what you said to analyze it for a GPT. So it constantly runs GPT, transcribe, voice transcribe, GPT. Once they say, okay, I want, this is an email address, and again, it can be anything. Yes, send me the link. Yes, it's got a lot of options. Yes, book me in, and it can send a booking details in. The options is endless on this. This is just the basic of sending an email address. Once it sends the email address, it's going to use this function. It's going to send it to the next make.com scenario, which is going to go in and it's going to send data back to Highlevel. Highlevel is going to update your contact with a telephone number, and it's going to move it over into the positive replies so you can keep track of it. Once it hangs up, it's going to send an end of call report back to Highlevel, and it's going to update the contact so we know a summary of what's been said and we can look over the transcript. So literally, as an agent or as a service provider, or if you're selling it to someone, all you have to look at as the pipe in the pipeline for whatever you've set it up for positive replies. And from here on, you can set up automation. As soon as someone has a positive reply that they should email you, you can add that they should email the someone the contact the link. So if it's a link, they can email them a sales letter, a sales link. The possibilities get endless. There's so much more to do from it because we have all this data. We've started with just a name and a telephone number. Then we know that they're a lukewarm lead, so we can start with their email address and work backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. The options and possibilities are endless. So, want to know how to exactly go through all of this step by step because I've not shown you how to link up Twilio yet. I'll send you the link down the bottom. In the bottom, you'll get about 7 modules to go through. Show you the 7 modules to go through. It's going to show you how to do Highlevel. It's going to show you how to do Twilio. We're going to work through Vapi and the prompt. We're going to do through all the make scenarios, how the Vapi tool works, and then work on these transcripts and how to make Go Highlevel look pretty. So it's a full activation where we use all these tools together. There's a lot of things put together, and it's got so much value to it that you really can on-sell this. Highlevel to make, to Vapi, creating an assistant, AI tools backwards and forwards, after Twilio, answering calls, giving the sales data up, sending it back to Vapi, doing a make thing, updating Highlevel, and then from all of that, you can literally get sales or get medium warm leads with a click of a button. All right, it automates a lot of processes really fast throughout the day. So I hope all this makes sense. It's a very technical video. You don't need to be super technical to set it up. All right, I hope this makes sense. I hope it works for everyone, and I'll send you the link to all of this below. All right, have a great day. Thank you.